Textbooks.
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 The College Board suggests that students set aside at least $1,200 each year for books and course materials that they might need. But students already spend thousands of dollars on their tuition here at Cal Poly. 2/3 of students skip buying or renting textbooks because they could not afford them, which can put them at an academic disadvantage. We interviewed students at Cal Poly to see their perspectives on textbooks.
My name is Lucas Bartel. I'm a third-year English major.
My name is Anna Ostrander. I'm a second-year public health major.
I'm Skylar. I'm a second-year bio major.
My name is Mariam. I'm a second year studying human biology.
And we asked them questions about their experiences with textbook pricing.
Do you think textbooks are overpriced and why?
Yeah, I think they're very overpriced. I think that it's very unfair to students to have to buy a textbook for every class, especially if the class is only a quarter long. Spending hundreds of dollars on a textbook for one class is essentially a waste of money, especially since a lot of times you just need it for an access code and you don't actually end up using the textbook.
I think textbooks are a lot of the time overpriced.
Why do you think that?
Because it really doesn't cost that much money to produce them, I feel like, and if I have to pay $300 to get a textbook that I need for a class that I need to graduate, it's just unfair.
I do think they're overpriced.
Why?
Because I think that having to buy textbooks that are a couple $100s for a class, especially when you're only gonna be in that class for one quarter, is a lot of money to be spending that could be spent on other resources.
That textbooks is an absolute necessity in college. Why or why not?
I think that for certain classes it's necessary to have textbooks, but they wouldn't have to be the actual physical version, and it could be online instead.
But a lot of times, like I said before, you just have to buy it for the access code, and in that case it's not. But I think that there could be a lot better of a system than what it is right now.
How much do you think you've spent on textbooks?
Probably about $500 to $600.
Are there other supplies that you need for your classes that cost money as well?
Yes, I've had to buy the molecular model set for OChem, as well as lab manuals and Mastering Bio.
I've been really lucky, actually, and a lot of my professors have chosen free online textbooks, which I really appreciate, so I don't think I've spent all that much. I think probably around $600, which isn't that much compared to other people.
I think that this quarter I've spent about $300 on textbooks. I think actually, but including the other supplies like lab manuals, it would probably be around $500, because for not only do I have to buy textbooks, but I also have to buy lab manuals, and I also have to buy goggles, different goggles depending on what lab class I'm taking, and the right lab coats and everything, and all of that adding up, it could be probably around $500, which is a lot for one quarter.
Does the price of textbooks influence the classes you take or when you take them?
So far it hasn't, but if I were to sign up for an elective and found out that it needed a really expensive textbook, I wouldn't take it.
Not at the moment, but I could see that potentially being an issue in the future.
Do you think there's a way to cut the cost of textbooks so all students have equal opportunities in using them for their classes?
Yeah, I think that the school can invest in a more of a reserve for school books. I think that so our school does have a reserve for textbooks, but you can only use them for an hour in the library, which is super impractical. They should have first of all a lot more. You can't just have one chemistry textbook for 20,000 kids to check out for an hour. They have to have a more of a supply, and they should be able to check them out for longer. So they can definitely implement a system.
Yeah, I think there could definitely be ways to reduce the prices. Teachers could just post sections of a book that the students need to read instead of having to buy the entire textbook.
Well, as I said before, a lot of my professors have been using online textbooks, which are free, which I really appreciate. Every chem class I've taken has had a free online textbook. My comms textbook was online, and I think it's because teachers actually acknowledge that students don't have this money.
There's a few different ways. Generally speaking, as I've said, first and foremost, a lot of things for my major, specifically English, is public domain. So I can get them online for free. So a lot of things that you can do instead of buying the textbook is A, figure out if it's public domain. B, figure out if there's free PDFs for the textbooks online, because oftentimes there are, and it doesn't necessarily fall into like copyright infringement. If the textbook is old enough, if it's an older edition, sometimes they'll release it for free. Third, Quizlet is a very helpful resource. So is CliffNotes, so is Khan Academy. There are so many resources online now that if your textbook is just a learning aid between being in class and using online resources, you might not need to pick up a textbook at all.
Where do you normally buy your textbooks?
I usually get my textbooks on Amazon or at the bookstore.
As much as I can, I try to get them from the free and for sale page.
Mostly from friends and then the student store. I've looked on Amazon a few times but never actually bought anything from there.
Why do you buy them from the student store?
Because it's just easy for me. I can walk in and they know exactly what textbook I need for what teacher.
These students gave us insight into their own opinions on textbooks, and they all universally agreed that textbooks are very expensive. They also explained alternative ways to get their textbooks at a reduced price, but even then, it still cost them something. To dive deeper into the topic, we wanted to get a new perspective, so we interviewed a staff member who works in Kennedy Library.
I'm Caleb Nichols. I am the Course Reserves Coordinator at the Robert E. Kennedy Library. So at the Kennedy Library, like a lot of college libraries, we have textbooks on reserve. And this is directly in response to inflated textbook costs. It's one way the university library tries to help students mitigate the costs of this. We offer 2-hour checkouts for things. The library buys some stuff. Instructors, though, at this school supply most of this stuff. So most of the reserves are instructor copies, which is really unique for course reserves, which means your instructors really care about giving you access to textbooks, which is not normal.
After speaking with Caleb Nichols, we have a better understanding in what the university is doing to approach this problem, although there is still not a concrete solution to the increasing price of textbooks. This being said, there are alternative ways to get them at a reduced price, such as Cal Poly's Facebook PDF page, which is a student-run page on Facebook that essentially has online versions of textbooks professors use in a plethora of classes, renting and purchasing them on Amazon. Reserved textbooks in the library. Unfortunately, there is only a limited amount of these. And lastly, accessing them online. We looked at this issue on Cal Poly's campus, but that doesn't mean that it isn't a prevalent issue on other college campuses. We already spend thousands of dollars to attend college. We should not have to spend more to get the materials we need to be successful in all of our classes.